Welcome to the Future Podcast, episode 3. We've made this far, and I'm very proud of us, honestly.
You know, I have to admit,
and we haven't learned how to speak yet, and we're figuring it out.
We made it far.
Well, it's honestly my fault because I said that we were going to operate weekly when we never intended to operate weekly.
The original plan was, I'm like, hey, once a month we'll knock out a podcast, and at the end of episode 1, Chandler goes, every week, every Tuesday, we're doing this thing. So now we're here.
We're here.
As you can tell, it's not just myself and Chandler. Obviously, Christian isn't here.
Again.
We upgraded looks with Micah. I'm saying that because he's sitting behind. He's doing this right now.
Yeah. Christian's doing homework in the back like a good schoolboy.
But today, we have two of my favorite people.
Yeah.
Serving
your favorite, not mine.
Not yours.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's fair.
All right.
We'll get into why. We'll get into why in a
We'll
moment. We have two of our Daybreak Youth worship leaders here today.
So good.
So before we introduce them in our studio, once again, we're not in the studio,
right?
But in our room,
Kinda.
can we put our hands together
Yes.
in the chat, blow it up for Mrs. Elliana and Jules? Yeah, welcome to the Daybreak Future Show. I want to ask you guys a question. Jules, you want to go first? Sure. Who are you? Where are you from? What do you do? And an embarrassing worship leading moment.
Oh God.
Yeah,
Okay, so my name is Julius Witherspoon. I'm 26 years old. I almost said I was 16. I don't know
You're
why.
built different, though.
I'm 26 years old. I'm originally from North Carolina, a 23-year resident. Now I'm a 3-year resident of Cali. So
Wow.
You had to drop that
Cali boy.
23 years Carolina.
Yeah, 23 years. And then my most embarrassing worship moment. That's where we're going.
Yeah, go with it.
Don't be afraid.
Oh, Jesus. So I was at this church, and it was like right before me and a couple others was about to go and, lead worship. It was like a
Lead him
minute.
to the throne. Lead him to the
A
throne.
Take him to
minute
the throne,
before that first song, and I had the guitar getting the guitar, and my ex showed up.
Oh gosh.
Oh, shoot.
My ex showed up to the church, y'all.
Did she go to the church though?
Nope.
She didn't even go to the church.
But Julius,
No.
from my understanding, she didn't just show up to church. She showed up
Yeah, she showed up on the stage.
on the stage.
No. Wait,
Like,
what
at
is
what
she,
point is this?
On
Like,
the
you're just...
stage, so it's like right before, bro. The
Oh,
countdown
man.
is right.
She was coming for you.
Yeah.
Wait, I don't
She-
understand. She
she was
literally
there.
just walked onto
Yep.
the stage.
Mhm.
Yes.
Did she
Yep.
like stand in front of you,
Yep.
or was?
Hugged me and everything. I was like,
Oh,
you know
that's
what you
kinda
doing?
That's not sweet. That's psycho.
I'm about to go.
You know?
And what did
You
you
know-
do? What'd you do?
I played it off. I was just like, hey,
Like a
we're
gentleman.
about to lead worship. We're about to take people to the throne room. I
Yeah.
won't try to.
Stay here and let Jesus speak to you.
Yeah. So
Okay.
that's what happened.
That's
Okay.
tough.
That's
Yeah.
that's
That is-
pretty awkward. That's pretty
that's
embarrassing.
Yeah.
Miss Eliana, give us who you are, what you do, and embarrassing worship leading moment.
Hello. Do I look at the camera when I do this? Or not?
Wherever you want to look.
Hello.
I'm definitely doing the zoom right when you do this.
Yeah.
My name is Elliana. What do you say? Just like
Where are you
about
from?
yourself. I'm from Southern California, born and raised. I'm the oldest of 3 girls. We've got 2 younger sisters, my best friends.
Shout out Helena
Shout out
and
Helena
Sophia.
and
Yep,
Sophia.
yep,
They're
yep.
the
We do lots of
best.
shout outs. Friends of the podcast. So
We do
it's
lots
like-
of shout-outs.
They're,
We also-
they are friends of the podcast.
We also like to say that Brooke, Ben's girlfriend, is the adopted sister. She's the blonde
Yes.
sister that we never had.
Yup.
So
I
she's
could- I
she's
could
a
see
4th
that.
sister. Shout out Brooke.
Shout out, Brooke.
And
creative.
what do I do? I do a lot of different things. But I primarily kind of like this past year I've done music, which has been
You're an
pretty
artist.
cool and really exciting.
An
Yeah.
artiste.
So kind of been learning how to do that. So
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's
And
dope.
you.
most embarrassing worship moment. Oh my
Yes.
gosh. Okay. So we were doing like a pre-service prayer like rally at this church, and we're like in a little circle and like a little huddle, you're like with your friends.
Holy huddle,
Like
yeah.
everybody's like yes,
Fire
like
tunnel.
amen, like you
Yeah.
know. So I'm
Prophetic.
kind of like looking around the circle. One
Smoke.
of the main pastors is talking, then the other main pastor is there, and I'm like looking around the circle, and he's like, I look over to him, and he's just making like dead eye contact with me. And I was like, why are you staring at me so aggressively?
There's a word for you. A word
Like, I
from
was
the
like-
Lord
I was
just
like,
for
what's
you.
happening? And so he's staring, and he goes, and he does this, like down to like my pants.
Lord.
And I was like
Pointing at your pants.
pointing at my pants. He like points like to me, to eyes, pants down, and does this like motion. And I was like, what are you doing? And so like I like looked down at my pants, and my pants were unbuttoned. And I shrieked internally, and I also couldn't button my pants without it being super obvious.
Wow.
So for the rest of the prayer huddle, I just like placed my hands like awkwardly across my waist.
Wow.
Hey, at least you didn't go on stage.
Right? I think
It was so awkward.
I think in that moment he did the right thing. I mean, he stepped into
was
the
very
awkward
kind.
to serve her, but like
it was very kind, but also having
on
like
both ends.
the lead pastor call
Right.
you out for your pants being unbuttoned is
Weird.
just horribly embarrassing. So
That's
it was
tough.
fine.
That's very tough.
Those were both great ones. I'm not gonna lie.
Very,
It's a big
very
deal.
proud of you guys.
embarrassing.
Okay, so I want to let the people get to know you a little bit. I think
Yeah.
a lot of Daybreak youth would know you guys from being on stage and leading worship. But what they might not know is you guys both are artists outside of Sunday nights.
Absolutely.
It's actually out of your good hearts that you serve and you lead us, which we're so grateful for.
Love Daybreak.
But you guys do awesome things on the side. Do you guys want to just kind of quick plug, fill them in on kind of your music and your projects you do outside of youth?
Yep.
Go
Jules
ahead.
goes, "Oh my God."
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess like for the past 2 years, I've kind of just been trying to figure out the music thing. I feel like I'm so beginner in all of it, but started writing with one of my really good friends from Australia, and it's kind of weird because he lived in Australia, so we were doing like the FaceTime Zoom writing thing before it was even like
Before COVID.
required and like trendy. So you know
Such a
now like
hipster.
everybody is like, let's do Zoom. Like, are you comfortable? I'm like, I've been doing the Zoom writing thing for a while.
I'm ready
My best friend producer lives in Australia, so it's been the original. But yeah, so I've just been doing that for the past 2 years, and did 2 songs in 2018, or no, 2 songs in 2019, and then 2 songs this year, and then working on having an EP out by like January. So
That's
Oh,
incredible.
that's
Where
soon.
can,
That's soon.
where can people
I
find it?
know.
What is it under?
it's on everything. It's on Apple Music. It's on Spotify. It's on Amazon
Napster.
Music.
Okay,
it's
I'm
on
gonna. You're too humble to do it yourself.
Pandora.
Nirvana, the song.
Yes, Nirvana.
Uh,
I love that song.
It's
so
done
much.
okay in Spotify and the
Right.
streaming world.
Yeah, it's done.
Go ahead, just brag on yourself. 'Cause
No,
I think it's so cool.
no.
I think it's so cool.
Nirvana has
250,000 listeners every single month.
That's crazy.
What?
yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Unheard of.
It's I don't like. I feel like I'm so beginner with it that
Sure.
it doesn't really feel real, and I'm still figuring like so much out. So like I don't know, like when people say it, I'm like, yeah, I guess that's good. Like, is that good? I don't really know. I have no idea.
nuts.
But yeah,
That's nuts.
Nirvana's almost hit 3 mil on Spotify. So
3
Wow.
yeah,
million
I
streams.
know. I'm so excited.
Fire.
It's so
That's
rad.
amazing.
That's so
It's a great.
fire.
Go stream Nirvana if you haven't
Stream
yet.
it.
It's awesome. Okay, Jules, fill us in. What's going on? Side projects. Things
Hey.
you're working on.
Hey.
Artistry.
Hey. So I have a single that just dropped called Midnight Cruising.
Woo.
It's
I love
pretty
it.
it's pretty sweet.
You can cruise to it at midnight if you
yeah.
want.
Yeah.
I think I
Shouts out,
texted
shouts
you
out
that.
a couple good cities.
Yeah, absolutely. San Diego, LA, you know.
Built different.
Absolutely. But I've just been kind of doing this music thing for like, you know, recording in the studio for like 13 years. Just kind of in and out.
Love.
Yeah. Just kind of in and out. I don't know, like from the worship background, you kind of are kind of confined into, you know, a sound that they kind of want you to,
Sure.
you know, to kind of portray. But I think with more life that you live, you got more to say. And so I don't know. I just transitioned from, and it's still the same. It's still worship. You know, you're
Right.
pouring out your life, the issues of your life. And, you know, it's still worship and people still kind of appreciate it because everybody still has a life like outside of church or outside of, you know, whatever. So, yeah. So doing music for like 13 years, like in and out the studio. My first single I did was Son of David. That did really good. Shout out to Goldsboro. Love y'all so much. And then from then on, like the sound just kind of changed, but the heart remained the same. So, yeah. So you can find me Apple Music, Spotify, YouTube under Julius Witherspoon. Appreciate y'all.
That's awesome. Okay, we didn't actually plan this question, but it popped in my head. You guys are both leading worship consistently, and you're also both making music on the side of it. How have you found maybe the balance between the two, and how you still stay true to yourself, but also like proclaim the name of Jesus and the gospel that we believe through it?
That's a great question.
To be honest, I don't really find it hard. Like, at the end of the day, like, I love God more than anything.
That's
and I
awesome.
love people, and I love writing. And so whatever spills out, whether that's worship or whether that's just things on my own, like, it's not really that difficult for me to, like, differentiate, because I don't feel like I'm being two different people. Like, who I am when songs that I write that are secular, normal, whatever you want to call it, like, it's no different than who I am as a person that loves worship music and loves to write songs based around those themes. So that's just for me personally. Like, I really don't find it difficult. It's just tapping into what is to be said on what end.
That's cool. I think I've always had an interesting like perspective on like why in church do we like box in artists, or like we put them like they have to sound like this, they have to talk like this, the music has to sound like this. That's why I really appreciate the two of you, because you guys both like pour your hearts out to our student sheets and every week. But at the same time, like, it's not stopping you from still making music that is reaching people outside, and I think that's a gift. Honestly, we've been blessed with to like, you guys have a heart for people so much that you're making music to reach people who aren't in church. And I think we need more of that, honestly. 100%. And talking about culture, music outside of church, I want to hop into our favorite. What's poppin'?
Brand new whip just hopped in.
Okay,
Just hopped in.
Jules.
So quiet.
Music you're listening to right now.
So
what's going on?
I am listening to a lot of Samote.
Yes.
Samote is
Put us on. I don't know who it is.
Samote is like one of my good buddies. I'm lucky to know him personally, but he's like doing so well. He has a song called "Us at Night," and
He's like the
so
God.
How do you
good.
spell that?
He's like the new
Samote.
godfather
It's Thomas
of soul.
backwards. It's Thomas backwards.
That is cool.
That's his actual name, Thomas.
So spell it.
Oh,
So SAMOHT.
Hey, you know,
is
some
so
people might
cool.
know.
Yeah.
That's
yeah,
amazing.
Yeah. So he's so good.
If
so
you love
good.
Giveon, you're gonna love
Okay.
Samote.
Yeah.
Okay, it's
Like,
not the same
it's-
thing.
Yeah,
I feel like
he
it
put
should
me
be.
on Giveon too.
It's just like
It's
like
pretty good.
a I would say Samote's just more of like classic soul.
Yeah.
Like
Absolutely.
it's amazing.
Absolutely. That's why I love it so much, because
Julius put me on, so I gotta
yeah.
give Jules
That's
credit
why I love
too.
it so much, because that's where my music comes from. So.
That's sick. Ellie, what are you listening to?
I'm gonna be honest. I'm that person that listens to like the same. 4
I listen to
songs.
myself only. I just,
There's this really cool song, Nirvana.
Thinking Nirvana.
No. That's not true.
That's not true. Ellie is
I-
humble. We are playing with her.
I listen to the same 4 songs on repeat until I find the next 4
That's
songs.
lim.
that's actually true. You do
So
do that.
Yeah.
I
Oh
do,
my
which
gosh.
is why I hate driving with anybody in my car, because I'm like, hey, if you're gonna get in my car, like, here's
Yeah,
the
these are the.
story. I listen to the same 4 songs.
That's fair. So
I've-
what for?
So I've got I know them too. It's the worst part. I've got
Love
The Car by Nightly.
Yes,
So
the first
good.
song on the album.
Yes,
Yeah.
I've got Sad and
Oh.
What I Wish One Person Would Say to Me off the new Lainey album.
Yeah.
So good.
And then I have Matter to You by Sasha Sloan. So those are, I
she's-
literally, I'm the whole
Best
way
songwriter.
here, I
Best
listen to
songwriter.
these 4 songs. So
That's fire.
That's
those
fantastic.
are my, also, I'm a massive Ariana Grande fan.
Come
and
on.
New album. She just, like,
she
put
has
on
a
Twitter.
new song tonight.
Oh, it's tonight.
And
It's
she's putting
tonight.
out a new album next week.
I'm
so
on it.
that'll be all.
I'm ready.
I'll
That was such a
listen to.
low key, like,
I know.
she just
She just-
randomly
I know.
tweeted
I
out.
love her.
And then posted on
She's-
Instagram, like, I'm excited to give you my new album. It's like, who do you think you are? You're Ariana Grande.
I don't know
course.
why, but
Everyone
I
should.
like have this pattern now for the past 2 years of just commenting on all of her posts, like as if I know her.
Of course.
And I'm just like, I hope one day, like, she just.
I did that for Justin Bieber for a long time.
Yeah.
Dang,
Like, I'd just be like,
like,
bro,
hey,
like,
girl, I love you.
appreciate you.
Yeah.
Kind of
You gotta-
started.
Hey, you
So
just gotta,
grateful
you gotta
for you in
pick,
my
are
life.
you gonna be a fan or a friend? You know?
Right.
Like, you can act like a fan, but then you'll never be a friend. So you
Right.
just gotta treat them like a friend.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because they're people too. You know?
Absolutely.
Hey,
That's
but-
what I do with Julius. I just
Yeah,
pretend
exactly.
like
Wow.
we're friends, but
Right.
really I'm just a fan.
Right.
Wow.
Honestly, that's truth.
Hopefully one day we can be good friends.
Yeah.
Chandler, any music?
I mean, I gotta give you credit. Ben last week put me on Nightly, and I've been listening to it. So good. It's like guy Tom Misch. He put out an album. It's October. He put it out, I think, like end of September, early October. Super good. So that's what I've been listening to currently. But
That's fire.
shout out Nightly. Great job, Ben.
Tight. And mine's going to be a family plug. Because by the time
Oh, I love
my favorite band in the world,
Uh-oh.
the 19 and You. I was about to say the 1975.
1975
Cam,
and you.
Cam,
Love
I was
y'all.
like, Cam, it's close to the name 1975, and he said Yes, because if someone on Spotify types in 19,
That is
looking for the
genius.
1975,
Brilliant.
and you will pop up.
And
That's
they sound
fire.
similar but different. So it's
no,
it's a different
not
one.
really.
No. What I'm saying is like if you like the 1975,
You would
you're
like
gonna
it.
like
That's
19.
true. Yes,
Yes.
that's
Yes.
true.
Yeah,
That's
that's
true.
what I mean.
So
Like,
we're putting him on.
Oh my
the
gosh.
19 and you.
So good.
Their
Wow.
single run-in will be out by the time this comes out.
I'm pumped.
I couldn't be more excited. It's been a long time coming. We've been
I know,
like
it really
watching the
has.
behind-the-scenes stuff.
It's gonna be
It's been
all over
cool.
Instagram next week. I'm
They're
about
so
it.
they're so talented. Those
Uh,
boys are just the sweetest.
They are.
Literally,
Shout out.
you
Love
guys,
them. We
shout
love
Friends of the
them.
podcast.
friends of the podcast.
Friends of the
Family of the
podcast.
podcast.
And Ellie, when they play at worship, what do we call the worship band at that time?
I don't.
What did we
19
call-
19 and
Who's our
What?
savior?
no.
Jesus.
We call it 19 and Jesus.
Yes.
Okay.
When they
Who's
play
our
on
I had a
savior?
short-term memory
No.
loss moment.
when they
I
Now
had
that
one
you say
too.
that,
I
yes,
had
we
one
always call it-
too.
we always call
He
it
did
19
say that.
Jesus, 'cause we'll get
Yeah.
all the boys to play,
He
and
did
then
say that.
we'll all
So
sing,
good.
and so
It's
it's just like this
unfair.
mashup of
Like,
everybody. It's
there's
so much
there's
fun.
no one in the crowd that won't meet Jesus that week.
no.
It's facts. It's what it is.
Okay. Music. Let's go to TV, movies. Ellie, you had a specific one you want to talk about.
Yeah, Netflix dropped. It's actually a podcast that this guy's. I have no idea how to pronounce his name, so I'm gonna butcher. I'm not gonna say it. But they've been doing this podcast called Song Exploder, and it's been going on forever, for like 2 years. But Netflix just did. Yeah, I feel like you
Yes,
know it
I've
is.
heard it, yes.
Yeah, but they just did like a docu-series on Netflix, so you get like the visual side of it, which I think is so
Absolutely.
interesting. with
Netflix.
podcasts.
Friend
But
of the
Netflix.
podcast.
Netflix.
Netflix, yeah.
Song Exploder,
Sponsor.
but they have 4 episodes now, and then they're doing another 4 in December with like Dua Lipa and
That's
U2
Ben's girl.
was
Ben's
doing
all
it.
over Dua Lipa.
Love
But
Dua
Alicia
Lipa.
Keys did an episode, and
Her
it
new
was
album
really,
is
really interesting.
crazy. That's
Great
another
songwriter.
good album.
Yeah, but I really like it. I don't know. It's just
That's
neat to
dope.
see the behind the scenes of how all those people make songs.
dope.
Yeah.
That's
really
awesome.
cool.
Yeah.
I think for myself, I've kind of transitioned from watching a lot of TV, and if I'm going to watch something, it's turned into TikTok.
Yep.
And
Yeah,
that's
you
where
are.
I've found this
That's very
kid.
accurate.
I found this kid, and this might be just for the church kids. But I want to pull up his video.
This guy
Shout out
is.
the church kids.
This
I'm just gonna
guy.
pull up the church kids. This. I'm already laughing. So this guy, just to give you a preference, I
He's
don't know
nuts.
him. I think he's actually from the Seattle area.
Shout out his handle.
I'll put it on the screen. It's
Right.
_Huff_. And
Friend of
he
the
likes
podcast.
friend of the podcast.
Friend of the
hopefully.
podcast.
I'll tag him in this. He just makes fun of arrogant people at church.
Love it. We
and
need that.
Yeah.
We need people
more
to
of that.
So I'm gonna play this clip for us, and I want you guys to react to it and just let me know what you think.
Hey man, how are you? Hey, I actually wanted to let you know that last night I was deep in prayer, and God spoke to me and told me that your girl is now mine. Yeah, he did. Yeah, dude, I'm sorry about that, but he said her exact name and everything, and he said, Caleb, she is yours now. So,
Shout out
facial
everyone
expressions.
named
this
Caleb.
sucks. Let's do this, but
Dude, Ocean's
she
playing
is
in the
fire though.
background.
So, yeah, if you just want to introduce me to her, and I'll be right out of your hair. And actually, go ahead and say your last goodbyes to her, man. I appreciate it.
Wow.
Like,
The facial
it's
expressions.
so hard because you know he's playing, but like the facial expressions, the
It's-
head movements,
so
the
accurate.
tone
Yeah.
of voice, like it makes me want to punch
can't.
my phone. Like,
Have you
I
ever
love
run
it.
into somebody? No, I mean obviously he's joking, but have you ever met somebody like that?
Yes.
At church.
Yes.
Yeah.
Uh,
Not to that level. That's like obvious
He's
sarcasm, but to a degree like that, absolutely.
If you haven't, you are him,
Yeah.
wow.
Julius. You didn't say anyone, so
Nope. I'm not him. Not him at all.
I think it's just funny that like people now can put stuff out like that, and like there's such a like now that all of church is online, like it's
That's
like we
true.
can all relate over
Yeah,
the
it's
same
true.
like funny
Absolutely.
things.
Yes.
Okay. I have to talk about this because it's happening before our eyes. Los Angeles is literally taking over
the world.
the world with sports,
Okay.
and
Chip City.
I wanted to
this
give.
is where I check out.
This
Hold
is
on.
where Ellie checks out.
That
I
was
have
so
to give
much effort.
I've never met a bigger LeBron fan.
Yeah, I was gonna say correct your mouth.
LeBron fan.
LeBron fan.
Than Jules. Like to a point where we're doing this event called Future Night.
Oh
Yep.
my gosh! I was literally gonna bring this up.
Yeah.
It's been every single Sunday.
Yep.
Tell 'em about it.
Every
Yeah.
single Sunday, we will be running full sound check.
Yep.
Like walking through
Yeah.
parts of
Songs.
songs, harmonies, melodies, and Jules will bring his iPad wherever we are and have the game just there.
And if
he'll
there's-
put it on the keys as we're rehearsing,
Yes.
and he'll be playing.
And he'll still crush it.
Watching, but that's the thing, is he still does it all flawlessly, but he's fully checked into the game while also sound checking and teaching harmonies
Right.
and teaching chords
Right.
for the bridge breakdown.
because
Wild.
Jules is built different.
Built different.
And like the thing is Ellie, it goes beyond that. Like
I'm
Jules
sure.
has his iPad playing reruns of
No,
games.
that's what he was watching
Like-
while we were walking through the podcast.
Yeah, I know. That's why we had to tell him to put his iPad away. Is because like
It's like the 8-year-old in the back of the car. Like,
we didn't need
Mom,
the
can I get my
2004
pod-"
Pistons
Yes.
reruns happening. Like we didn't need Chauncey Billups
Hardwood
on
classics.
the podcast. Although he's
I
a
need
friend
to,
of the
I need to put the
podcast.
parental restrictions on the amount of time on your iPad.
Yeah, basketball
can't.
content.
Okay,
Listen, man.
so I want you. I'm just gonna give you the floor for like 30 seconds,
And we're gonna cut you off. I'll
and then I
time
might
it.
cut you off. I
All
just
right.
want to hear your heart on LeBron and the championship.
All right.
that LA just won.
Listen, man. Look, there's so many critics, so many
So fired
people,
up.
so many people that look at this man as a mistake.
18 seconds.
But he's not a mistake. You know why? Because God has gifted him
Yeah.
to be
Yeah.
6'9",
Yeah.
260,
Yeah.
can run like a freight train,
Yep.
and he's better than everyone.
And he's
Yes.
And he's a 4-time NBA
he's-
champion,
and
and he's built different.
good.
so close. It was so close. Oh, it didn't.
Oh, there,
Yep.
there, there,
Yep.
there,
It was
there,
close.
there,
It was
there,
close. You finished early. Good job for you.
That was great.
I want y'all.
But seriously though, LA, they're in the World Series now
Absolutely.
with the Dodgers. Shout out Dodgers.
Yep.
Friend of the
Cody
podcast.
Bellinger.
Shout out Cody.
Not a
Shout out
baseball
Corey.
fan.
Shout out Kike Hernandez especially and Mookie Betts. You know, there's a whole squad. But they're taking over LA. Lakers. The only thing is the Rams. They're not going to win at home. Yeah.
Trash.
We're gonna get 2 out of 3 of major championships. That's
Yep.
cool.
Still, it's a big deal. Okay. Ellie's like totally zoned out now.
So
She's like,
bored.
Welcome back to the podcast, Ellie.
Welcome back.
Anytime we go to your house, it's like your dad is like
My poor
only grew up
father.
with all girls in the house, and
Oh,
every
man.
time it's either camera out, he's like, "Want to watch sports?"
Yeah.
We're like, yeah, let's do it. Like so fired up on it.
so true.
Okay, so I want to jump into this series that we're actually concluding this next
Yeah,
week,
it's this last week.
called Soul Ties. I really enjoyed the series so far. I think it's been really impactful, and we're talking about things that everybody wants to talk about, but the church never does.
It's so
Right.
practical.
Exactly.
Which you've done a really good job of like
so.
Absolutely.
breaking things down and making things, because I feel like relationship talk sometimes it's
Love
so
it.
like
Absolutely.
just this one level, but you've gone deep and also like practical, like this is what you do, 1, 2, 3, 4,
Right.
which for people is so helpful
Yep.
to have.
Especially young people, they need
Yeah.
that voice.
And for Monday nights, you have done the same.
Dr.
Absolutely.
Lem,
I
shout out
appreciate
friend of the
it.
podcast.
And Dr.
For
Lim.
real. He'll
oh
be
my
on the
gosh.
podcast. We'll
So
get
good.
him on.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
Spoke
good,
this last
y'all.
week.
He-
He
amazing.
spoke in Hebrew for like
He
30
said this
seconds.
Man.
the Shema, which is a prayer in Deuteronomy.
Listen,
Wow.
oh my God, I've been hearing that like almost my entire life, like Hebrew prayers,
Love it.
like Hebrew songs, all of that type of stuff.
That's why you're so anointed then.
My favorite part was Lem's going off like for 30 seconds straight. Like I'm gonna butcher it, but he's pretty much just going like like talking
Yes.
in his
Hebrew.
foreign language.
Yeah.
And
So
Jonah
good.
in the
You got
front
10
row-
out of 12 words.
Thanks.
So
Jonah
good,
in the
bro.
front row is going so good. Yeah, it's not and I'm like,
Jonah's shouting him
yeah,
down.
I'm like Jonah, you don't know what he's saying. Like,
Shout out,
Shout
Jonah.
out Jonah, friend of the podcast, intern of the podcast.
so as we
my
move the
God.
conversation towards soul ties, I
Right.
want to have this conversation about bouncing back.
Yeah.
This last week, kind of both of us talked about cutting ties in our lives
Yeah.
that are holding us back from walking into what God has for
Yeah.
us. But I think when we talk about relationships, a lot of this is like when we go into a relationship and maybe it doesn't end the way we thought it would.
Yeah.
And all of us, for the most part, have kind of been in this situation
Right.
before, where there's this weight or maybe baggage or I would say ties
Yeah.
we carry to the past. But God still calls us into a future. God still
Right.
calls us into the next.
Yep.
How have each of you, I know you guys can kind of take turns, found yourself maybe bouncing back from a relationship or from a tie that's pushed you into your future with the Lord?
Well, I think you just kind of have to remember who you are before the relationship
Yup.
happened. So, I think for me, it has honestly been a big challenge. But with prayer and kind of a person like my dad to kind of guide you through things like that, you kind of remember who you are, because sometimes you can be depressed or, be sad or whatever like that, because, the relationship didn't go the way it was supposed to. You had all this expectation, like things, just didn't happen the way it was supposed to. But with, prayer and, just kind of going hard after the Lord and, having fathers and mothers kind of reminding you of who you are. It's kind of like the Lion King, right? Simba, going to the water with Rafiki, not Simba, but what's his name?
Yeah.
Mufasa. Yeah, Simba going into the water with
Right.
Rafiki, and Mufasa comes out of the sky and just gives Simba this prophetic word.
I don't know why you pointed at me for Lion King. I talked about
Wait,
the movie.
Mufasa's the evil lion.
No, that's Scar.
Scar's
Mufasa's
sorry.
the dad. Okay, sorry.
But
sorry,
no,
sorry, sorry.
I
I'm sorry,
love
we
what you
lost your
said,
point.
Jules,
Yeah.
because you said at the beginning, like knowing who you were at the beginning.
Right.
And I think there's whether the relationship, there's only going to ultimately, hopefully, be one relationship that ends in victory.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
the other ones will all end in what would be considered like not accomplishing the
Right.
goal of like finding your partner. But I think one way that I've like continue to grow and have the ability to step into a new relationship is you have to learn to like understand that you're constantly growing.
Yeah.
And you're constantly learning yourself about yourself. And so who you were at the beginning, sometimes you can look back and you can say, man, I lost sight of that person. But you could also sometimes, and what I try and do is look back and say, man, I've grown so much.
Absolutely.
And this person did help me grow.
Yeah.
Even if it was something that was a toxic relationship
Yeah.
or something that was hurtful,
Yeah.
you can still look back and say, I now know
Right.
things about myself and things about others that are going to serve me moving forward. And so I love what you said, but look back at who you were, recognize your growth, and step into the new relationship out
Absolutely.
of that growth.
Absolutely.
And don't just go back.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
I think it's awesome.
That's
Anything?
good.
I have a lot of things. I think one of the biggest things that's like bothered me when I've been in heartbreak is like people always say like just stop thinking about it. Stop thinking about it. Stop thinking about
lean
him.
into
Stop
it.
thinking about it. And to me, I feel like that's so unhealthy. And it's a very fine line to walk, but I do think there is a healthy balance of processing things, and I think
Right.
that health comes with who you have in your life. And I've had like the best of friends in my life to help me process my heartbreak that I've experienced and talk through things, but also like you were saying, like, this is who I was, like this is
Right.
who I am, this is who God has called me to be, and now
Right.
I'm moving forward and I'm moving on with my life. And also to a big part of that moving on is like you have to kind of mourn a heartbreak, because it is true.
Absolutely.
And I think it's so hard when like pastors or whoever tell their audience or tell their youth like just move on, just don't think about it, because like that's not our human,
It's
like
not realistic.
it's not realistic.
Not
Like
realistic.
you
Yeah.
think about it, you stalk, you look, you look back at photos, you know what I mean? Like
Totally.
it's so realistic. And so those things to me, it's like, okay, who's around you that can help process like this is
Right.
what happened, talk
Right.
through these points that are
Right.
hurting you, that are bugging you, find a solution to how to get over those things, make practical steps of like, hey, today we're gonna go do this, we're gonna go to the beach and we're gonna write everything out. We're gonna throw that piece of paper away. For girls it's different. For girls it's different processing heartbreak, but like
I
there
do that.
are practical steps that you have to take. There are practical steps that you have to take to moving on. And also
Yes.
too, one of the worst things I think you can do after a breakup is to just go date or just
Do
go
not.
on a date. I've had that said to me a couple times, and I absolutely disagree
Horrible.
with it.
Yeah.
I think it's one of the worst things that you can do, because now you're taking your hurt that you've been through and you're gonna just put it onto the next
Yep.
person.
Yep.
And not only that, but you're just gonna dig yourself into a deeper hole,
Right.
because you're not gonna have processed everything that happened over here.
Absolutely.
And so you're just kind of like in this hole and continue to like throw this dirt on top of yourself, because you're never really going back to the source of the hurt and
Yep.
starting with the healing. So I think healing and having people around you that are gonna healthily help you get to that place to where
perfect.
you're like full again. And also too, like just throwing it to the cross, and just like it's a
Absolutely.
daily thing when you get heartbroken.
Yep.
You
Yep.
have to wake up and consciously choose, I'm not going to think about this today. God, it's yours. I give it to you, and I'm
Awesome.
moving on.
It's a choice.
That's
Amen.
cool. You said
That's so
healing.
good.
I think that's a really
Yep.
cool. I think that's. I don't know if you were there that night. We did the whole kayak illustration.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Yeah, that was really cool.
Similar to what you were saying. I think a lot of people will go through a heartbreak, and like you said, never experience healing that God offers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then just jump into the next one, like you said, and then now it's like this compiling hurt
Right.
and compiling just issues and complicated things. And I want to ask you guys a question. I think we can say like find healing,
Right.
go for it. But how? Like that's what I want to
Yeah.
talk about. Like how have you found healing in areas, or maybe you're still walking through it? Like I know for me, it's been like a lot of conversations is where I find healing. Like when I'm honest and transparent.
Yeah.
And you have those like 2-hour conversations with close trusted friends where you're just like, dude, I feel this right now. This hurts. This sucks.
Absolutely.
Can we pray on this together?
Right.
The prayer of a righteous, is going to be answered. I always believe that. And I think that's where we have to like find like what are good ways for young believers to find healing from these types of things.
You have to find that one friend. I don't know what's my so David, right? What's his best friend in the Bible? I forget his name.
Wow, I should know this. Jonathan. So you have to find your Jonathan. Shout out to my buddy Chauncey Robinson. He's like my best friend. We have like constant talks about, just things in life, especially, relationships. And I think I find, so much healing in that. I kind of end the night like, just either like sobbing or or like, just ending the night with like a happy type of joyful spirit.
Yeah.
And having a friend like that, to go through that process, being honest about, what you went through and, being honest about the deep, dark stuff, like that brings healing. So
That's great.
Yeah.
I love that.
I think for me personally, it starts with like who God is in your life and how God speaks to you, because God speaks to everybody differently.
That's so good.
And I think for me personally, like two of the ways that God speaks to me throughout my life is one through worship and two through people. And so conversations, being honest, talking through things, processing things helps me reach a level of healing. And then individually, personally, is just worship. And there have been so many times in my life where I just throw on a worship song or a worship set in my car, and I feel God healing me through that ability to like sing out, praises to Him and let those things go. So that for me is how I've kind of.
And most of the time, he's like, okay, let this song minister over you.
Right.
And you just sit there and be like,
You
okay.
just listen to the same 4 worship songs.
Yeah, I do. I got the same 4.
Yeah,
I'll name
yeah.
them off for you.
100%.
Absolutely.
I'm agreeing with you. That's a little bit of a joke, but at the same time, like I know
How
what I
great
go
is our
through.
God?
Yeah.
Blessed be the name of the
Yeah,
Lord.
like sometimes it'll just randomly
There's
come
this little
on.
song.
It'll just
When
randomly.
the fight calls wrecked me in college when I was going through heartbreak.
Great song.
Wow.
Anyways, yeah,
Great song.
yeah, it sounds a lot better when
Yeah.
you do it.
Yeah.
As you guys being songwriters, have you ever seen relationships play into how you write your songs or like directly influence or anything
I feel like that's
along
too
those
much of an
lines?
obvious question.
Yeah, I know. I want to hear how it actually applies.
Like, is like I would say, like how we can contextualize this more. Like, help us understand how that is therapeutic or part of the healing process for you. You know, like because when you write that song, if like, what if it does well? Like, how do you maintain a relationship with that song in a healthy way, even?
Ooh, you might need to go first.
Yeah, I mean, I think anything I've experienced in relationships, whether it's been like love or heartbreak or even just, fights or whatever, anything like that served as like the script for my songs.
Yeah.
And it tells the story and I use those things. But also not only do like I use it, but like I have to write it out to get it out of my head, which I think is a weird part of the healing process. A lot with songwriting because
honestly,
you get it out of your system. Like I have notes where I just like have like a trillion thoughts and I just write down the notes. But like, okay, that became Nirvana or that became the next song. And it's like those train of thoughts from relationships and from those experiences have translated to be what a song is. So
I like that.
and it's weirdly healing too.
Yeah. It does play a big role. I don't know. It's something. I don't know.
It's just part of it.
Yeah. It's
How so you and I don't write music.
Well, I mean, you're right.
You're executive producer.
He was the producer on TV.
We need to stop making this joke because I actually want to be a part of the next project.
For real though.
I'm going to contribute, so let's just move on.
Sorry,
okay?
we don't write good songs. I'll say that again.
Hey.
We
I don't
write
know.
songs.
That one unreleased is pretty good.
But
You know
yeah,
what I'm talking
but yeah,
about.
she said it, and
Right.
I just
That's
repeat.
perfect.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. But I like the point you said, like getting it out.
Yeah.
You find
Yes.
healing in
Yes,
that.
yes,
And
yes.
for you, the motive is through songwriting or through recording. Chandler, what's some ways you've been able to get some of those like thoughts and ties and hurts out?
Yeah, no, I think for me, like, it's a similar thing. It's like finding your outlet, and so I'm similar in the way of, like having the conversations, finding a trusted mentor who maybe has walked the journey before. Like Lim in my life, he's walked a lot of the journey that I have either walked or am currently walking, and so we're able to relate. But then he's able to point out, hey, this is where I failed, do this instead, or hey, this is where I won, do it like this. And that helps. But like a lot of it is just like conversation. There's a great book called Let Hope In by a pastor named Pete Wilson, and he has a chapter where he talks about the one thing. It's the one thing that the enemy holds on to you with, of you will always be loved until the level that you're known. And so they love me, but they don't know about this. They love me, but they wouldn't if they knew I did this. Or they love me, but they wouldn't know if they knew this happened to me. And it's confessing that one thing and talking through it, and then having someone meet you on the other side of that, saying like, hey, I love you. And so that way the enemy doesn't have space for lies. And so for me, it's looked a lot like speaking the lies that I'm believing about myself, speaking the lies that I'm thinking, and then having someone speak God's truth into those has been how I find a lot of healing. And just time with people. Like, that's just what I need just time with people.
I feel like the enemy tries to isolate.
100%.
He knows if you're isolated, you're not finding healing.
Yeah.
Too. I think like isolation holds you from healing.
Yeah.
And that's why I yelled this over and over last Sunday night, but there is no condemnation for those who are in Christ Jesus. Condemnation literally means there's no look or view of disregard or disapproval on somebody, right? And that's where like I think we can have a concept that God doesn't look at us disapproval, but it's the part of, do we look at ourselves with disapproval still? All the time. Is the hardest thing to get over.
Absolutely.
And that's where I think it comes with like that fight to be honest and authentic and open. I really believe God can heal and fix things that we're honest and we're transparent with. And a lot of that comes through the prayer with other people.
Absolutely.
And confession with other people, like you talked about. And therapy and counseling is a great thing.
Huge.
Like the church doesn't talk about it all the time.
It's a stigma, but it needs to be taken out.
Oh my gosh. Like it's such an impactful thing, and it's a tool. It's a tool that a lot of us don't use.
Right.
And that's where I think our hope and prayer, if I was like encapsulate everything I think we talked about, it was like, let's know who we are before we get into a relationship, so that we don't lose sight of that if it ends in a way that wasn't intended. As well as when we come out of it, we bounce back through letting thoughts out, being authentic through worship. That's how we find healing. And then once we find healing, I think that's where we find ourselves in a place where, man, God's working in our lives. We're growing and we're stepping actually into the things God has for us. I think that was a really awesome conversation. Chandler, do you want to close us out? Any final thoughts, things before we move forward?
Yeah, no, I think, well, first of all, thank you all for being here and being
guys.
transparent. It's seriously so good. I just think, like, in relationships, you got to understand that, like, your journey is your journey.
Exactly.
Don't get lost in the game of comparison. Stay focused on what God is doing in you and through you. And as long as you stay focused on those two things, like, he's going to take care of it. Like, don't get lost in the comparison game. Don't get lost in the shame game. You'll never win either of those. But just stay rooted in who God says you are and what he's doing in your life, and you will always come out victorious.
Hallelujah.
Absolutely. With that being said, again, you guys are legends. Thank you so much for all you guys do for Daybreak.
Stream them,
Love the
Apple
youth.
Music, Spotify.
We're going to put the tag here for
Elliana,
them.
Julius
right here.
Witherspoon.
The best of the best. Email ben@daybreakchurch.org for any questions. We're going to talk about them. But other than that, we'll see you this Sunday. We'll see you Monday. We love you. Peace out, Daybreak.
Bye.
Future.